thoughts on this video to be like, okay, I want to change, but I don't change. Okay, so then you got a result of what's going on there. More than likely, it's a psychological process. Okay, now hopefully 10 seconds in, you go, okay, cool. So psychological processes. What does that really mean? Well, okay, let's just imagine that we're getting a set of results. Whatever you're getting a set of results right now, right? Then, if something comes up that you want to change, ask yourself, what is it that actually wants to change? Okay. Now, you might go, this is what I want to change. Then you might still asking yourself, well, why do I want to change this thing? And I might list out, this is the reason, but you still haven't done it. Cool. So where's the disconnect? Because more than likely you've listened to the motivational videos, more than likely you have absolutely masturbated yourself with consumptions and voluminous amounts of hours listening to shit that you just, maybe momentarily you did an action because of it. Great, you got some doingness, you employed some doingness to your life to get that thing done, right? But now you're watching this and you're saying change, but I haven't changed. Well, if you really want to know what's the criteria of change, right, and you want to successfully execute on it, or let's just say self-derived neuroplasticity, so self-directed neuroplasticity, right? So think about this. You have an outcome, right? You have actions that you know leads to an outcome. So you might go, yeah, law of cause and effect, right? Think about change in like terms of Hermetic principles or universe principles, right? So you know this is the cause, that's an effect, right? You understand this, that's a principle. Cool. Maybe you don't have an understanding of something, okay? So here we go. The criteria of change. You have a mentor, 1. 2, you have a step-by-step system that's been proven to get to where you want to go. Okay. 3rd, you have a psychosocial environment that is supportive of where you want to go. Right? 4th, okay, that there's an actual drive to get there, okay? It's like, who's going to save you? Expect no one to save you, okay? It's going to be you. It's going to be you to make that change, okay? Quite literally, it's going to be you to make that change. Because, people say, if you don't change, nothing changes. No. Everything outside of you is changing. Always. It's either you think it's like stasis. It's not plateau. It's not stasis. You're literally swindling down in lower energy. So right now, just think, all right, I'm going to change. I'm not going to be in my downward spiral period. I'm not going to be on this base thing. I'm going to spiral up, right? So you write the criteria of stuff that spirals you up, right? Because you want to have the winning effect to change. Okay, so the 5th step of that change was 1, 2, 3, 4. So mentor. Then we got a psychosocial environment. We got a step-by-step system. We got the drive to do it. We got a criteria of change. Okay, so what are the metrics of change? Okay, now really think about this. Okay, some people, let's just say in fitness, might go, yeah, I either lost a pound, didn't lose a pound. They will not go based off performance. So how did I perform in the gym? That's a win. Was my technique better? Did I increase my volume? Was I sticking to tempo on point? Was I less tired? Did I, even just the fact that I turned up and went to the gym, that's a win, right? You want to invite as much dopamine and as much, because dopamine is a forward motivating thing, and that's what you need to do, is operate so much on like the ability of reframing everything that you see, okay? Because think about it, the lens that you're doing or have, or the internal processes, the internal voices that you're operating on are not serving you to get to you want to go. Or else you probably would have got there. Or right now, it's the comfort zone. Then you got this place where you want to go, which is the ideal reality. Then you got this space in between that's a line, okay? Imagine we got this piece here, right? And that piece is you filling in every day that piece of the puzzle, okay? And then we stick it in with what? Density of repetitions, or other words, the density of quality actions or quality repetitions or quality of each day that you're attending your intention to doing this particular thing to get that outcome shortens what? Space and time are always there. To condense space and time, what do we think with your goal you need to do Ask yourself that, because I don't know what your goal is. If it's the gym, if you went twice a week in comparison to 4 times a week, double the literal volume per week, okay? So for a 12-month period, it's like who's gonna have a better physique? Come on, what are we saying? Right, so in laying this out, why am I even saying these things to you, and where am I coming from? Because I've done this before. I've done this where I've absolutely consumed so much content. I've done all this stuff, but it didn't get me to where I want to go. Okay. Now, is it better than having things that do not serve me, but it's maybe quantitatively we could say it's better material to entertain yourself with? Yes, 100%. Then we kind of have to upgrade it once we go through that stage. And when you might right now be on the upgrading stage, like, I recognize I'm doing this, but there has to be another way, right? And then in the other way is actually the definitive purpose of where you're going. You have a definitive purpose. It's like a plane. A plane, if it knows it's going to New York, from New York, let's say to Japan, right? It has a freaking map to get there. It follows the map to get there, right? If it's 2 degrees off, it might end up in freaking Japan. So it might end up in China, right? Or it might end up in another part of Asia, wherever it might be, right? But it's off course, right? But the whole point of you getting from where you are to where you're going to be is you're going to have voices that say, don't go there. You're going to have buyers and people that might say, don't go there. Don't do that thing. It's too risky, whatever. List out all these things. Great. Then multiply out the reality of which you listen to that conventional guidance or advisement, okay? And see where it gets you. Like literally, just think a holographic universe, okay? You got a box that's horizontal and vertical in lines, holographic. You multiply out each stage of that reality, right? Imagine Avatar. You ever see Avatar? You got 4 different kind of states of spiritual humans, war humans, and then whatever else, okay? Now, you've literally told the future by doing that to yourself, okay? So, like, you're smart enough that you can literally use your creative mind right now to do that on paper or to list out the main things. So you go, what would my health look like? What would my wealth look like? What would my intimate relationships look like? What would my relationships look like? What's my daily life going to look like? Does that align with literally the best week, the best day that I could ever have? Does it? If it doesn't, reassign. Or is it the light that you're viewing that thing in that it doesn't hold the potential to get you to where you want to go, right? Because think about it, if you're going to build anything, does it have the capacity to build you up to where you want to go? That's a serious question you've got to ask with this change thing, okay? Because it's like a book. Could this book hold a sentence? Because generally people say a phrase, say a thing, say an analogy, say a phrase, say something that is the sequence of words, okay, that are put together that allows you to go ding, click, unlocked a new freaking way of living your life. It's literally down to the sequence of words, right? Like, for example, if someone says to you, the mythos comes before the logos, until someone extrapolates that and like really signifies the meaning to you, depending on your database, reference points, etc., that might only have the mythos comes before the logos. And you might go, okay, cool. But unless, let's just say, for example, that's uneducated ears, uneducated mind about that particular thing, then they explain it, okay? But they're viewing it from their lens of, man, this is the most important thing. You got to be on this, right? You got to do this. You got to keep on going about knowing about this, because it's the bigger vision. And then if it's the bigger vision and that's greater than you, then you're not in the self. It's not about you. It's about the greater impact that you're going to have on doing things that's for a greater good. Let's just say, if you want to go that humanistic or humanitarian point of view. And then you might go, yeah. So by me doing this video, I'm helping you, but I'm also helping the version of me that would have read all this material or read loads of, listened to loads of videos, listened to all this sort of stuff, but I wasn't doing anything. But again, I did recognize, and then looking back on that, it was an accumulation phase, right? It's like in a program in the gym, you have accumulation phase, right? It's like if you go swimming, you got to get some repetitions before you can teach something. You got to get something. So it's like maybe you just don't know, and that's where you're at. You just don't know. But then the whole point of that change criterion that I laid out for you was Go to someone that knows. That's going to be the shortcut of getting that flight, is booking that ticket, getting that experience, because that's the number one thing, is that literally you just know that you're going to earn that back. Don't let that be the incapacitator, because you just get an extra job. If you spend some money, you read a book, okay, cool. Just be like, how can I create a framework from this book that I'm going to publish, I'm going to sell, that's going to help someone that wouldn't read that book, but I've digested it and synthesized it for someone else to digest, and then they can use it for the greater good for their life. You see how much of a precession effect, if you look at the book Minister Fuller guy, where precession was the word of basically like the butterfly effect, if you've ever seen that Ashton Kutcher movie, is you do something and then you don't see the onward effect of what that would be and how the implications of that conversation or that idea or the things that you said to that person have had and spread across like a ripple effect, okay? So, for example, if I got this freaking coconut, right, and I go like this, okay, that's just created a ripple and it's going to come into the top here, right, and it's rolling out. I don't know who's going to see that. I don't know where that's going, okay? It's going to go out there into the sea. That's like the same thing with you. But then all the fish can come along and they can go nip on whatever the left of the parts of the coconut there was, and then they're going to nip on that knowledge, and then, gee, macaroonies are getting a bit burnt here, but nice. I think this thing is turning upside down. Right, so, my God. Pattern interrupt, what are we saying? Anyways, so actually talking about pattern interrupt, that's a perfect thing to talk about right now, is that you got to interrupt the pattern of thoughts that you're having, okay? So, a frame of which you can use about that is if thoughts aren't serving you, question the thoughts. So like, write out the thought as much as possible. Go with reasons. Why am I having this thought? So let's just say, I have no self-confidence, right? So what could you immediately do about that? Okay, what does self-confidence look like to other people? What does self-confidence look like to me? So that's internal, external, right? Then you might go, how am I motivated? Internally or externally, right? So again, everything is within. If you're full within, you can give to loads of people. But if you're without, then more than likely you're external and you need other people's validation to do something, right? That's not where you want to be. That's not power. That's force. That's force. So if you're looking to David Hawkins' work, Power versus Force, you look at the lower end of the chart, they're working at, against a forceful thing, okay? But when you go up to that acceptance, reason, willingness, etc., then what are we talking about? Power. It's a lot easier. There's not trying to push that stone up the hill and it's coming back down. No. Okay? So, there's quite a few things I'm touching on here with the whole, no self-worth, no confidence, or depression, or whatever might come up for someone. It's like, how do you make that obsolete? Like, just make whatever that voice is obsolete. Like, for someone, like, especially a man, is like going to the gym, getting in shape, right? Easiest thing. Literally, when you contract, relax, you're releasing dopamine that's contained in the muscle, right? Then you feel better. You got that done. So then what happens is you got in this winner effect of, I got in the gym, which was what? That was you. Let's say you didn't do sports, you didn't do whatever, you did sports and you want to do something new like juggling or handstands, whatever it might be. You were literally creating a new version of you that takes action on this thing, right? So then that means you're employing doing this for a particular thing. And then what happens? You got to really extrapolate this now. Do you ever notice when you do one thing and you're really good or maybe consistent at it, other things start to fall in place? I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to take greater health. I'm going to take greater responsibility of my health, my meals. I'm not going to eat out as much. Perfect. Then you might go into look into your sleep. You might go, actually, do you know what? I'm going to try metabolic typing. I'm going to try carnivore. I'm going to try be a pescatarian, whatever it might be. And you're trying all these new things. So now you're trying so that you're open to these new possibilities and things that are happening. Now, this is me talking about health. Now, maybe in wealth, you might go, actually, do you know what? I don't want to follow what I recognize all these 50 and 40-year-olds are doing. Where they came from a different generation, different time, where they different, opportunities that maybe we don't have now. And this whole thing of maybe borrow and then and spend, and then borrow and spend, get a mortgage and go get a house and pay basically my whole life to this particular land. Maybe it's actually not for me, but maybe that's something I've been sold as an idea of the life that I should live, and that's the most prosperous thing, is that I go buy that villa on the beach, I go do that thing, and that's me winning life. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's just consumption call, mate. Right? Yeah, like I think in consensus with all these little stringent threads of the cloth that I'm pulling about this change topic is like, you know, more than likely people talk about risk, but you really gotta flesh out that thing. Like, look at people who are the best in the world at certain things, and everyone takes a risk on something. Everyone does it. Like, someone might go, oh, you're riding that bike today without a helmet. Someone might go, you got in the car today. Someone said, oh, you got on the plane. Someone's saying some degree of risk is there, right? Everyone recognizes that. And then, you know, at a younger age, you jumping off something, you might go, oh, that's no problem. But now you go, oh, I don't know about that. So your degree of risk comes down to capacity to do things, really, yeah? Or your belief in your capacity to do things. So, see how it's a psychological process. Like the mechanical stuff of like, this is the strategy that you use to optimize your business. That's the 20%. You got to employ the person within you, because you're multiple people. You're not just one, yeah? You're the different person with your parents, you're a different person with your friends, you're a different person with your best mate, you're a different person with your intimate partner, you're a different person with your, you know, on a public bus or in a public domain, or when you're presenting an idea, or when you're on video, or when you're on camera, whatever it might be. And then it's just recognizing that you're actually just at the beginner stage of this character within this specific domain that is just leveling up. And then you just got to recognize that you got XP points that you can put towards this and gamify it and make it fun. Make it fun. If you gamify things and you're a child, like, you're making things fun. And you're making things like, man, do you know what, I can do that. You know, if I post a video every single day, I literally got 365% better that year. Then you actually don't. You get way more than that, because what are the other things that change? Maybe your attitudes, your behaviors, your enthusiasm, your way of speaking to people, the way that in which you feel like, yeah, I have this purpose of which I'm helping people. I have this purpose of doing this thing, or you don't know what opportunities to come up. You don't know if you can blow up one day. You don't, unless you put that out. Like, I'm going to literally change the world. Okay, I'm gonna increase the levels of consciousness of human behavior and attitudes of people, of not being in contraction states, but being in expansive states of possibility. Okay, now that's a worthy endeavor. Now you just find what's your what's your thing that's going to get you up off your arse to go, yeah, man, I'm getting after it. Get your mates, get a mentor, get step by step, like, have that environment. Because it's like, you got to recognize, like, if you put a seed that's in toxic oil, that's supposed to be bamboo, right? Then they put it into there and it doesn't grow. Then it goes into like semi-good fertile soil. So it kind of grows, and maybe the rate of it is just a bit later, like a bamboo, you know? 5 years, it's just going real slow, real slow, real slow. Then boom, it shoots up. So what about when you put yourself, like that seed, into a really fertile environment, as fertile as you can make it, about internally, the voices, like the diet of voices, the menu of voices that you have a day, the thoughts that you have a day, the menu of thoughts, whatever it might be. Look at it. If it doesn't serve you, get it away. Make it obsolete. How you can do that? Have reps of something else that gives you confidence, that gives you better things. I could go more on this in a different video, but I do feel, 18 minutes in, it's a lot that I'm touching on and going left, right, and center with you guys here right now. And that's the thing. It's going to pull you in all different directions, and that's the thing. It's just a game. It's part of the journey. Is to configure these things and grab an accumulation of ideas, and really. The thing that I'm going to get you to really understand about this video right now is, like, being flexible is super important. Because the person that can be flexible is like a chameleon, in the sense of they can pick up things and be like, yeah, I played with it, no, not for me, cool. Versus like rejection straight away. Because sometimes you never know. If you picked up the skill of learning something, you might go, that was a bit stupid, but then you use it at this complete serendipitous moment. Well, then it did serve a purpose for that moment, right? So, those things can occur. So don't be so fast to spark something as no. But if your truth-seeking radar is saying, yeah, no, then leave it. Bye-bye. See you later, right? And yeah, if you think about choices, just get better at choice making. You know, that's another thing. Like that whole hologram thing. If I future-proof the reality of me saying yes, yes, yes to this thing, where does it get me? If I go yes, no, yes to what possible things could happen, cool. But again, ultimately, the biggest thing that you're gonna get from this thing is like doing this, like the doing this. Like what are the beliefs I have, what the attitudes I have, what are the values I have, where are my feet right now? What am I doing today to make the best day I possibly can? Because you literally have the being of right now. You don't have yesterday anymore. You have the future, what you think you might have, etc. And it's really good to put that out into existence. But you literally got today and just think, I'm going to make the most out of this freaking day as much as I can, right? And then multiply out the days to have the best days that you seem fit to have the best days you possibly can, all right? So thanks for tuning in. Any thoughts, leave them below. Be more than happy to, if I've got any questions, you got anything, life circumstances that are coming up, I'd love to answer them, help you out with it. And again, subscribe below. Let me know what you'd like to know more on and about. And I hope to see that you're applying and employing, doing this to the change that you seek yourself, that you're wanting to do, and you have a calling to do. All right, so subscribe below, comment below, and have a great day.